Let me express a very warm welcome to each one of you this evening. It's a very special privilege and an honor always for me to rise up on the occasion of this lecture, the annual Helen Joseph Memorial Lecture. I say this particularly at this time that we find ourselves in right now, on the second day that flags are flying half-mast throughout our country. On the 22nd day of Women's Month. And I bring this to our attention because it is clear that South Africa is going through an extraordinary, difficult, and challenging time. Across the board. And our only reference for you, the diagnostic report of the National Planning Commission released last year, as a reference to suggest that we are in some considerable trouble as a nation. The important thing, of course, is that when one is in trouble, that one should recognize as such, and that one should begin to make every effort to turn that troubling situation around. Helen Joseph remains an extraordinary woman, an icon. And the question we may well ask ourselves, as we will do this evening, is, so what would she do in this extraordinary circumstance? But this evening we have a particularly important guest in our midst, who will be introduced later by Professor Patel. I simply want to acknowledge this amazing woman, who in many respects takes on the mantle of Helen Joseph. Or put it differently, who has in many respects taken on the mantle of a Helen Joseph. A woman who day in, day out, when she has to travel by road this evening back to where she comes from, a 4-hour journey by road, where she's engaged in very important work in Mpumalanga, but a woman who day in, day out is faced with, is confronted with the most difficult and challenging encounters which the poorest of the poor, the marginalized, but also for that matter the middle classes are confounded with in our society. And so I simply want to say it's a very special honor, a very special privilege for us to have on the stage this evening this amazing woman of courage who I'm certain we know, despite extraordinary pressures, presses on. A woman who has transformed the role of the public protector, fundamentally at its core, here in South Africa, and at the right time. So warm welcome, Advocate Thuli Madonsela. It's a great and a very special privilege to have you here this evening. There's so many extraordinary men and women in this room, each one of you. I know each one of you is here for a reason, determined to contribute to building a better nation. And so it's difficult for me to pick out any one of you. But forgive me. You know that situation? Forgive me for recognizing Mrs. Zanele Mbeki, who is a good friend, a great friend of the Helen Joseph Memorial Lecture. It's great Mum Zanella to have you this evening. Also, Amina Kachalia, it's always wonderful also to have you as a fantastic and a great friend. I didn't see Willy myself. Willy Hofmeyr is also here. I'm sure we all know the name. He's another important champion of the democratic project here in South Africa. And I know that there are many non-government organizations represented, a community-based organization represented here this evening. Let me also recognize our Deputy Vice-Chancellors who are present here this evening, our Executive Deans. There are a number of colleagues who are here this evening, Executive Directors, Heads of Departments, Members of Senate, who are present, for after all, this is a university. And after all, the role of the university in troubled circumstances is to provide the possibility, the space, the possibility for conversations of this kind to occur, for light to be shined on darkness, for scholars, academics of the university to fearlessly, and I say with care, also responsibly, to help us confront these extraordinary challenges that this nation faces at this time. So a warm welcome from my side. As I say, it's always a special privilege for me to rise up on the occasion of this particular lecture because of its meaning for us at the university, and we are certain for the wider community beyond Johannesburg. Thank you very much, Rory.